So what's your name and what is your role at Bolt?
My name is Brian Adams. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Customer Success at Bolt.
I'm Garrett Service. I'm an advisor at Bolt.
What is Bolt?
Yeah, Bolt is a essentially text prompt box where you can build anything you want from web applications to mobile applications. So I think if you take somebody like myself who may be able to talk technical but actually can't code, this is an ideal situation where if I want to build an application, whether it's internally for the team or externally for a customer, I can go into Bolt, type in whatever the idea or thought is, and it will build me a full-blown application.
Awesome. Cool. Can you paint a picture of Bolt's growth journey over the last 12 months?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a wild journey. It's actually been a little interesting one for me. So I actually previously advised StackBlitz, which is the name of the company, pre-Bolt. And so I kind of saw that journey and then watched Bolt at this point a little over a year ago get created. And within the first 60 days, we essentially went from 0 to 20 million in ARR. Wow. And then it really hasn't slowed down then. So I decided to join Bolt probably in the beginning of this year. And my whole purpose of joining Bolt was to find out if there's an enterprise play at Bolt. Obviously, we're getting a ton of signups every single day, every single month. Yes, there's a lot of B2C people there, but obviously I knew that there's got to be businesses as well. And so I joined to see and carve out a B2B motion, and here we are today.
Nice. Love it. 0 to 20 in 60 days is certainly something which we'd aspire to do at Freckle as well.
Yeah, it's wild. It's as cool as it sounds. You don't realize all that is needed to actually support that, because at that run rate, people think you're a much larger company than you are, and you're only 15 people.
Was it 15?
It was 15 people at 20 million in revenue.
Right. Wow.
So it's awesome and aggressive all at the same time.
What's your headcount now?
We're a little north of 50 now.
It's awesome. There's a bit of an interesting story around how you got to know Freckle. So can you share that with us?
Yeah, so you actually reached out to me in October of last year, and I was still working on my own startup at the time, but we were getting ready to transition things at the company. And Brian actually reached out to me to start advising at Bolt. And as soon as I came into Bolt, I noticed there was a huge but great problem for us to be having, is we were getting tens of thousands of leads every month. And I had no idea how I was going to process these. So I started going through my LinkedIn emails around potential enrichment providers. And I found a note from you. And I ended up reaching out to you saying, hey, dude, I think now is a good time for us to chat and figure out what you guys can do to help us. Yep. And we hopped on a call, and from there, I think the rest is history.
I don't even think I knew that story.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
We were looking at the LinkedIn DMs the other day, Emily and I think it was maybe like October 8th last year that I pinged you a LinkedIn DM saying, hey, I saw you're following Clay on LinkedIn. Yeah. How are you finding their product? And then we had a bit of a conversation.
And I do think this is a good point to say. Outbound still does work. This is a
perfect example.
Outbound is not dead.
Perfect example.
Yeah,
I love it.
So that was awesome.
So what was the catalyst for you exploring Freckle now?
Yeah, so when I first started advising at Bolt, we were getting tens of thousands of leads every month. And a big problem that I'd seen at previous companies is actually identifying these personal email signups that we had coming through the platform. And through my experience, I know there's a lot of gold hiding inside of these leads. And so I knew I needed to go and find an enrichment provider to provide us with the right personal email address enrichment. And so we ended up reaching out to Freckle. You guys ran a really cool table for us that was able to identify all these personal emails for us very quickly. And immediately from there, I knew it was a great opportunity for us to implement a tool like Freckle to help us uncover and identify these hot leads for our team to work.
Awesome. That's great. How were you trying to manage this before Freckle, and what was the impact of that on Bolt?
It's going to be a little bit of a longer answer because I find it funny. When I joined, I asked the same question. We had one guy who was here selling. I said, hey, so like, how do we find the leads? We didn't have a CRM. We didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And he sends me a Google sheet. And I'm like, you just come in here and you see all the people that signed up. I'm like, what are the requirements for it to get to the Google sheet versus just like live in Snowflake?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, we identified if it's a business email. I'm like, well, what about all the other ones? And so, to your question, I mean, I think we're getting access to less than probably 2% of the actual signups on a monthly basis. We were essentially cherry picking through a Google sheet. And every day we would go in and I mean, I could show you Slack messages where I'm like, hey, did you follow up with this one? Because I got to go follow up with this one right now. And we're just playing tag on making sure we're getting through this list, which obviously is very inefficient.
Yeah.
But it's what we were doing. And obviously there's been a long journey of where we're at today, but that's how we started.
Wow.
Can I add something there too?
Yeah.
We just weren't doing anything before.
Yeah, fair.
We couldn't
Fair.
even address these leads because there were so many coming in, and we had a great problem of there are already so many great business emails coming in too that we didn't need to worry about the other leads such as personal email signups.
Yeah.
But I knew it was low-hanging fruit that we could go and find a quick win on if we found a great enrichment provider. And that's why it's critical to implement tools like Freckle that can help your company move faster.
Yeah, that's awesome. What other products did you evaluate alongside Freckle, and what was your experience with those products?
Yeah, so I looked at quite a few. The two that stand out most to me are Apollo and Clay. We are actually still a customer of Apollo, but we don't use their enrichment. Trying to use their product can be a bit clunky, and the support that we got trying to actually implement the product was not such a great experience. And so that's what led me to start using Clay. And as soon as I got into self-serving onto Clay's platform and trying to utilize all their tables, I was like, there's no way I'm going to figure out this on my own. And then I started researching deeper and finding out that you would get charged individually for a HubSpot integration, and their tables could only support up to 50,000 rows. And knowing that we're getting tens of thousands of leads signed up every month, I knew it was going to be a major headache for me to deal with. And so I was like, there's got to be a better solution out here. And that's when I ended up finding Freckle, and what a smooth experience it was working with y'all and your ability to handle the volume of leads that we were getting. It was just, there's nothing like it.
That's awesome. Cool. Love it. So what made you choose Freckle?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, the integration that y'all had with HubSpot was really powerful, and that was critical to me. For me to evaluate any data provider, I needed to ensure that they had a really clean integration into HubSpot, which you guys nailed. And the other piece was having the personal email address coverage. With us getting thousands of personal email addresses every week, I needed to ensure we could have a provider that could meet those needs. And hands down, the team, like, it was such an incredible experience working with you, your head of engineering. The way that you guys leaned in and helped me build tables on day one and started giving me value within the same week was second to none. And so for me, what was really important is that we could have a team that would lean in with us and actually help us build these solutions. I don't have a lot of time as an advisor to actually go in and mess with tables and build workflows. And I was able to tell your team, hey, here's exactly my problem. Here's what I'm trying to solve. And you guys rolled up your sleeves. You brought in all the resources. And that next week, we were already getting new meetings booked through the Freckle platform that we would have not gotten before. So within a week, I was able to show Brian, our head of sales, like, dude, look at the performance that we're already seeing in 1 week of implementing a tool. And that's when he was like, we need to move quickly on this. And so we ended up purchasing, I think we signed up for a paid plan almost immediately.
Yeah.
So it was just really the team and your expertise around this and willing to roll up your sleeves that I've never seen from another vendor. Freckle's in a class of its own.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in Garrett, I think, as a big leading indicator for me to actually like want to pay attention to it when he's saying, hey, this is really, really good. I have a bias coming into this whole experience of like, hey, it sounds really good, but how good is the tool going to work? Is it going to be effective? And so not only just me trusting Garrett, but also seeing the results that you guys were able to provide was pretty eye-opening. And it kind of made it a pretty easy answer to say we need to move forward with it.
Awesome. Great. Love it. How do you talk about Freckle internally, and how has your team's mindset shifted around AI and go-to-market from before implementing Freckle to now?
Yeah, internally from like a executive standpoint, I think it was pretty obvious as far as like, hey, this is something we need to test. And then fortunately for us, the results have been great. So it's like, this is something we need to do. I think from more of like a rep level, that comes down to they love the fact that they don't have to clean data. Yeah. I think a lot of people probably don't understand in very early stage startups, like a sales rep is not just a sales rep. They wear so many different hats. A lot of times hats they don't want to wear because it's taking them out of the field and closing deals. And so the enrichment that you were able to provide, the tool set and ease of use, that's just kind of, you don't really have to think about it. It's just they're doing the job that most likely they don't want to do. Yeah. That's kind of been a game changer for us. And so I don't know that they've vocally said this is the greatest thing ever, even though like me and our execs are saying that. I think for them, the biggest win and takeaway is it's doing this job that I now no longer have to do.
Yeah.
You know, we're not diving into a Google Sheet to go update stuff. You guys are finding stuff and uncovering things that we don't even have access to.
Yeah.
And now it's putting them in a position where they can close more deals, larger deals, faster deals. That's like a rep's dream. So I think it's kind of just pivoted how we're working. And from an executive standpoint, understanding like all of the things we're able to uncover now, which we did not have a month ago, has been probably the biggest impact for us.
That's awesome. And I know that, like I've seen from your posts on LinkedIn, you've dove pretty deeply into the world of AI and go-to-market tech, and you know, the power of data, you know, at an early stage company as well. So I guess how's Freckle stacked up to some of the other tools that you've explored in the space, and how has it sort of shaped the perspective on where AI can be applied in the new go-to-market motion of today?
I would say what you guys are tackling has like drastically changed my mind. I mean, Garrett and I actually worked at a previous company that's very similar, PLG, a bunch of personal email signups. And back in the day, we're like, man, if we could ever just uncover these, like it would change the trajectory of the company, right? Like if you had access to whatever your Gmail is and know what company that they're at, and then you can go outreach to them and get a hold of them in a meeting and a sales cycle, et cetera. And this is the power position we sit in because of Freckle. So now all of a sudden, the AI has incorporated all of these things that A, we didn't have access to, B, frankly, we don't know how to do. And now C, it's put us in a position where we can just go execute, which is what I say our strengths probably are.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you the same question, Garrett.
So for me, it's really easy to tell folks that, hey, you know, 97, 98% of all the signups that we get, and we're talking tens of thousands a month, are personal email address signups. How do you uncover those and turn that into revenue? And it's a very simple question to ask your colleague. And most of them say, I don't know. And I say, well, you need an enrichment provider to enrich that data to give you the answers and allow you to action those leads in a meaningful way. And so Freckle is that tool that can go identify the personal email addresses and then allow our teams to work it. I do think AI alone is not the magic. What the magic is, it's through workflows and the data quality that you have. And Freckle has both the data quality and the workflows. And their team is one of the best teams in working with generative AI models to actually provide a net new value add in the Gen AI space that I've never seen across any of the sales tech stack. So it's really important to evaluate tools like Freckle that can bring a new experience to a sales team in a way that technology hasn't been able to provide before.
It's awesome.
I think you're touching on something that probably goes a lot unsaid is there's a lot of tools out there that can enrich your data and update your CRM. But everyone knows like data is only as good as the data. And I think at least what we've seen so far is the data has been highly accurate. And that's what I care most about. If you were just uncovering things that we wound up getting bounced emails or phone numbers and it wasn't working, then it's not helpful. And I think that's probably why I find this tool so valuable, is because the data isn't just doing like the data cleanse that nobody wants to do, but it's actually doing a data cleanse with accurate data. And now we're talking to real people that before this we wouldn't have access to.
Well, and what I love about you guys too is that you're willing to go out and find new providers if there feels like there might be a gap in the data. And I've never had that with working with another vendor. Like they're like, hey, let me just go and check out if there's another vendor that can meet that requirement for you guys. And that's really special as a company.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Can you describe the workflows that you now have live in Freckle?
Yeah, we've spoken a lot about it, but the personal email address sign up workflow was the first workflow that we built out and the most critical one.
Yep.
We're feeding thousands of leads every day through this workflow and turning it into a ton of net new meetings for our sales team. And then the second one, we built out a process at Bolt to allow us to generate as many demo requests as possible and not set up gates to people requesting demos. I think what a lot of companies do is they try to pre-qualify through a form on the website.
Yeah.
And my mindset is more let the water flow of leads come in to your system and then enrich those leads to then action against them in the most necessary way. Yep. And so we built out an demo request. Think of a hand raiser workflow where anytime somebody signs up for a demo request, it's automatically enriched, feeding that data back to HubSpot. And our SDRs are calling and actioning these leads within 5 minutes. We actually had a sales leader that we booked a meeting with that was interested in rolling out a tool like Bolt, and he walks up to his SDRs and was like, you guys need to follow up with leads as fast as these guys followed up with me. And that's because of us using a tool like Freckle.
That's awesome. I love that. I didn't know that story.
Yeah. It actually just happened last week. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, that's
He
great.
brings his laptop to his sales reps and goes, what these guys just did, this is what I want done here.
Really?
It was amazing.
We're going to need an intro to that guy then.
Yeah.
So Brian, what impact has this made for your reps at Bolt?
Yeah, it's actually been huge. So for context, to put some numbers behind it, I think we've been live a month, maybe a little over a month. We generated just under 2 million in pipeline. And this is 2 million in pipeline of like personal email addresses. We're not even including any type of enrichment that you guys are doing on business emails. Okay, so this is just personal emails. It's about just under 2 million in actually net new pipeline. On that same thread, I think now 23% of our pipeline is being enriched through what you guys do. And so I can't really say enough. These are deals that we wouldn't even have. They wouldn't have never made my Google sheet if we didn't have you guys. So it's been really impactful.
That's awesome. Garrett, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, well, as an SDR, you only have so much capacity to chase down net new leads, book meetings, follow up with new leads. And the ability for Freckle to provide the right insights at the right time has allowed our team to be 25 to 30% more effective. And so a rep that typically can only book 20 meetings in a month can now book 30 meetings per month, which allows me to sleep much better at night as an advisor here and building out their team. As a leader, you want to make sure that, hey, at the end of the month, you know that with a new month coming that you're going to be able to hit your targets. And by implementing Freckle and allowing our team to get an additional 30% leads every single month has been huge. And it's just continuing to drive more and more pipeline for the business. And it's only been implemented for 30 days, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more work for us to be done with Freckle, and very excited about the journey ahead.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think for me, what was pretty astonishing was, I've never seen or worked with a company that gets the volume of signups that you guys get. So I think seeing that come into a Freckle table and seeing just how many of them are personal email addresses, it does feel like 98% of them roughly are personal email addresses. But then seeing the types of accounts where you've got a VP of product management or a VP of product design that is coming through and is signing up with a personal email address, but they're actually at a massive enterprise account, and then now it's been able to be worked like that. When I look through the table, I always get surprised in a really positive way by how that's occurring.
Well, and I don't even know if the industry yet is aware of this personal email address enrichment. I think it's such an underutilized use case across the industry where if more companies implemented a tool like Freckle, they could instantly be improving their pipeline 25, 30%, because most companies, like I said in the past that I worked at, tools like this didn't exist.
Yeah.
So we're now in an era where you can generate a lot more business from your existing pipeline. You just need insights and data, and Freckle has that.
It's awesome. So Brian, who else do you think would benefit from Freckle?
I mean, I think any PLG company would benefit from Freckle. Obviously, as mentioned earlier, like Garrett and I worked at a previous company together where this would have been extremely helpful to us. Like, this is a great tool to adopt to just start on square one.
I do want to add one thing there as well, and this might be an answer you weren't expecting, but I actually see a huge use case within referring a tool like Freckle to our internal data teams. In the last week, I've already had several use cases internally come up across our data team where we right now ask our thousands of signups every week what their buyer persona role is. So we say, hey, are you in product management or are you a sales leader? And 50% of our forms said that they are product managers. We went and matched them one by one looking at their LinkedIn, and actually only 20% of them were actually product managers. And so now we're looking at implementing Freckle into our data team to help verify the data across many more functions in the company.
That's awesome. Well, that's a good dovetail into my next question, which is, beyond the workflows that we've got live today, what are the next workflows that you're looking to build in Freckle?
Yeah, so with Bolt getting so many thousands of signups and having well over 5 million users today, what's really critical to us is to help understand who's writing support requests to us as a business. And so every month we get thousands of support requests, but we have no way to action them. And so using a tool like Freckle, we can actually start to enrich those support tickets that we have coming in and help prioritize those support tickets to our sales team as well to help answer the customer's question, but also at the same time, help grow those accounts and give them the proper support that they need for the size of business that they could become on Bolt.
Ryan, what's one sentence you'd use to describe the partnership?
I mean, one word that just pops up is seamless. And to me, what that means is it just works. It just works. It works from a team collaboration standpoint. The tool set itself, it just works.
Love it. How good.